But ma'am, I just like he also presented now so many vacancies are coming out, right? And so many people have done their type rating. Yeah. What are the kind of questions that people should expect from an airline when they're hiring? And what is a good answer of common question, why do you want to be a pilot? And what all questions do you expect? HR and also technical.
Yeah.
So, regarding
What's up? Welcome back to Pilot Podcast. We are on episode 36 now, and we have a special guest today. You might have seen his reels, and his informative content is helping the aviation community. And what we do here at Pilot Podcast is be as helpful, as informative as possible towards each aspiring pilot in India. Because India, I say, because it is what information we provide is relevant to Indian pilots for the most part. Okay, so the aviation's one of the great creators in Indian aviation, providing great information, and he is an airline pilot on Boeing 737 Max.
absolutely.
Welcome, Captain Ravish Bhalla.
Hi guys, thank you so much. I mean, so I don't know how to take compliments, right? And the moment somebody says this, I'm like, I'm just blushing, and yeah, it feels nice. I'm really glad that people like you find my content very valuable, and that's the aim actually. At the end of the day, that we provide value to the society so that people get amazing guidance. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
So it's like give what you're given, right? So
Yeah.
that is what it is. And back in time when like for me, she was there, so that was different. But when she started, it was like there was not much information to begin with.
Yeah.
There was no YouTube. It was the time of phones, like the smartest phone out there was Nokia 5800 with the
Yeah.
touch screen, right?
Yeah.
So YouTube wasn't there, no nothing. And that said, to find information such as like what are exact steps, what is medicals, and what are all those things. Those things now for either of us seem like very obvious. Right?
Yeah.
Anyone slides into your DMs and says that I want to become a pilot.
Yeah.
How would you approach it? You would just say that get medicals done first. Right?
Absolutely.
Then probably what would be other
So I have this simple formula that is very easy for a first timer who's stepping into aviation.
Correct.
So the thing is, when somebody wants to join the aviation industry, they think it's very glamorous, and to some extent it is, but it seems glamorous, you know. So that's what I think that the formula that I made is very easy for a newcomer to understand who wants to step into aviation. It's medical plus DGCA exams plus 200 hours of flying is equal to CPR.
Absolutely.
And if you have that funda in your mind, whenever you're starting, you know this is the drill in that particular order.
Absolutely.
So this is what I do. This is what I say, that first finish your medicals, get class 2 done, and then followed by class 1.
Correct.
Clear your DGC exams in the interim.
Correct.
And then start your flying training.
Exactly. That's how we go about it. And one thing like that we missed on speaking about is aviation is expensive, right?
Oh yes.
Like that is something that money can't be faked, right? And it costs a lot. It does cost a lot.
Yeah, like when you're actually starting, you should know what you're getting into, especially if you don't have that kind of budget. It's fair not to pursue it. And it's totally understandable because not everybody comes with that background.
Correct.
And if their goal is to actually join the aviation industry, if they can afford the loan and can sit on ground even after doing their CPL and not getting a job, then only they should go forward with it. And
we talk about it like a couple of years of downtime, 2 to 3 years of downtime a pilot should consider after completion of CPL before getting a job at least. Like if the person is taking loans, the person should be able to pay EMIs without losing their house
Correct.
for at least 2 to 3 years. Make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, if you have realistic expectations from this particular industry, and you like, it's great if you get a job earlier, like once you do your CPL and you get a job.
Correct.
But having said that, if you know that for 2 to 3 years, it's unlikely that I might get a job, is a good standpoint. You should be aware this is what you're getting into. So
It's possible. They might
Yeah.
get a job in 6 months as well.
Yeah, that
in
is a
looking at
possibility.
current scenario.
Certainly.
So looking at current scenario, students who started their pilot training in COVID, like 2020 or 21.
yeah.
So we have some students who started at that
Yeah.
time, and now they finished their CPL, and next month they applied in airline vacancy, and now they've got through.
Yeah.
So it has happened with some students. So it depends on what time you finish, not what time you start.
Absolutely.
So many people start when it's good time, and when they finish, if it is good, they can get through.
Yeah.
So like when you started your pilot training,
I started.
how was the journey that time? Like how did you start?
So I started. This was December 2017, early 2018. That's when I started, and I saw my younger brother actually preparing for CPL exams.
Correct.
So I've done my engineering, and post that I've also worked for a startup for 3 years. I was also placed as a software engineer in my college where there's a campus placement. But I chose to work for this startup. Had a great time there. But one day my grandfather asked me, so do you want to do this for the rest of your life, or do you want to have a lifestyle that you always wanted? So I always wanted to be a fighter pilot. That was the goal. But I told him, listen, I wanted to be a fighter pilot. And he said, Ravish, flying is flying, be it commercial or fighters. If you are really interested in flying, just for my sake, just attempt it. You know, as it is, the market is opening up. If you remember 2016, 17, the market had started opening up. People were getting jobs. How it's now, right? So that's when I decided, okay, it doesn't hurt to, just undergo my medicals.
Correct.
So that was one step. Then it doesn't hurt to study along with my brother. And I instantly fell in love with the subjects. So during that time, I started my aviation journey, and luckily cleared all the exams, went for the flying school. And about 11 months, I think early 2019, I finished my CPL, got a job also for a domestic carrier. And and then COVID hit. So I was like, I'm doing so well in life. Everything is happening magically. One thing led to another. And I was like, I'm made for this industry. I was born for this industry. But that's the beauty of aviation, It just, we talk about air, but it keeps you grounded.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
It just keeps you grounded. And that's the beauty. And you have to be humble.
Yeah.
And everybody, I'm sure every pilot, especially any person associated with this industry, has gone through that low, especially in COVID.
Yeah.
So yes, and so did I. Like for 3 years, I was waiting for my base check, and that was a hard time. And you learned a lot during those 3 years.
Right.
Yeah.
But now you don't work for that airline. Now you work for another airline, right?
Yeah.
The names won't be ever disclosed. But you you can know it by certain.
So there's a movie that I saw, 21. I don't know if you guys have seen it. So in that movie, they say that if you see a variable change, go for that variable change if you're not sure.
Okay.
So I saw an opportunity. Either I could have chosen to wait.
Right.
So I saw an opportunity. I thought, might as well just take it.
Correct.
And it worked out well for me, touch wood.
Variable change, is that a poker strategy?
It can be a poker strategy, but I would only suggest that if you're sure as to what you're getting into. If you're not sure, don't. Stay where you are.
Correct.
So I had actually done a SWOT analysis, wrote the pros and cons, what I'm about to do. And luckily it worked, and I'm grateful for every day that I'm flying. I'm blessed. And It's been
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely.
Congratulations on
Thank you.
your airline job.
Yes.
And matter of the fact, we both started pretty much at the same time.
Yeah.
Now, that brings us to another topic, that is, before getting a job, usually people have this kind of competition and animosity towards colleagues that if he gets it, then I won't, and if I get it, then I'm better than others, kind of thing, right? Yeah, don't you think?
Yeah.
And I feel that makes the journey kind of toxic, right? What do you think about it?
Yes, in a way.
Yeah.
I think a very important part of getting into aviation is your intent.
Correct.
Right? And I associate that in terms of attitude also.
Yeah.
If your intent is nice and you mean well for everybody,
Correct.
I mean, it's difficult to mean well for everybody, but if your intent is right, that
Correct.
you're not doing anything wrong, and especially in COVID, this is what I've realized, and this is a saying that I think I made it, that दाने दाने पे लिखा है खाने वाले का नाम, ऐसे ही घंटे घंटे पे लिखा है उड़ाने वाले का नाम. So, no matter how hard you try, if it's not meant for you that particular day, if you're not flying, you won't be flying. So might as well, if your colleague is flying, just be happy for him or her. And yeah, it is hard because obviously you're at the same level, and that toxicity kind of develops if you see somebody accelerating that fast. But it's not a competition at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And you have to learn as per your progress. And if you're taking time, that's great. I feel people who have taken time in terms of their procedure or in terms of the flying training, they're far more better pilots eventually.
Absolutely.
So that's the trend. And in the aviation industry, anything can happen anytime. So, let's say right now you're starting off at JFO. Tomorrow you'll be a DE taking a check of a captain that you flew with in your supernumerary.
Maybe.
So you got to be humble there.
Right.
And that is what almost 90% of us realize that once we get into this industry. So yes, that culture is there, but I feel it's kind of dying down also because people are realizing it.
Yeah.
But there'll always be certain kind of toxicity. That's human nature.
Definitely.
Yeah, but the intent and how you're approaching things, that matters a lot.
Absolutely. So, you are an Airbus pilot. You are a Boeing 737 pilot.
Okay. Airbus versus Boeing.
We're ready for the war.
मतलब क्या war? मतलब obviously Boeing. मतलब both these aircrafts are nice and it's amazing. But obviously Boeing, like I don't know where's that thing coming from. But I mean,
See, this is your first aircraft, so you would love that aircraft. Airbus is my first aircraft, so I would love it. So that is.
yeah, I mean both of them are beautiful machines. I mean, there's no comparison. In fact, I've heard Airbus, the systems that are developed in Airbus are far more superior to any other aircraft.
Many things are handled by computer, and then we have to look at these certain things in the sense, when you talk about the flight controls, fly-by-wire system takes care of many things.
Yeah.
And the manual control which you have in Boeing, that is, we just fly that in one of the law when all those computers fail. Like direct law, we call it.
Yeah.
And for landing, we have that.
Yeah.
That landing is all conventional. It is not
without any protections.
Without any protection.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Like Airbus has a lot of protections compared to Boeing.
In normal law, though.
In normal law. All right, cool.
Otherwise, other laws, no.
Yeah, but
Reduces, yes.
yeah, I'm sure. Like, Airbus is a very nice aircraft, but eventually, like, I mean, like you said, it's very manual, and at the end of the day, I'm very old school. And
I'm neutral, so I'm A320 rated. I love Airbus A320, but I'm neutral. I'm the referee here, and you both are fighting in the ring. So I'm looking for a nice battle here.
I mean, in our FCTM, it's not called cockpit managers. It's called pilots. That's what I'm trying to say. So
it is not mentioned as cockpit manager in Airbus.
My bad.
No. It's pilot given term.
As a pilot given term. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So when I heard that, I started looking into FCTM. Okay. And no, it's not there.
It's not there?
So that
Cool.
is
That's
not true. Okay, that is not true.
Cool.
Cockpit managers, Airbus does not
Say
call its pilots cockpit managers. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm neutral here, but I'm just saying.
But you're also rated on, like, it's 2 versus 1. Like, you're also...
No, I'm neutral here. I'm neutral
But,
here. Because I like Boeing.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like Boeing.
Because, if it's Boeing, you ain't going.
No, I'd go anyway.
if it ain't Boeing, you ain't going. Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, if it ain't Boeing, I ain't going.
Yeah.
That was before Airbus took over the entire market.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now it's no longer applicable.
No, absolutely. I'm glad that Airbus is rising. I think it's good for pilots eventually, like whichever manufacturer is doing well. But like to start out, I feel very lucky to start off with Boeing.
Yes, even Captain Joe said that in the podcast, that if you want to begin with and you want to polish your manual flying skills more, then it's better to start from Boeing than to Airbus, so that once you transition to Airbus, if things are taken care of, it is far more easier than if you have to do those things
Absolutely.
manual trimming while flying. And
Correct. So technically, it's an easier aircraft to fly, Airbus.
You can say you need to know the systems.
Absolutely. You really need to be well read. Yeah.
It is not like if you don't know, then also you can just...
Then she'll take you for a ride. Yeah, I understand.
So you need to know things more. Your knowledge of the system is required.
Should be strong, yeah.
In a correct way, rather than just operating it blindly.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. It is, I feel, more of a person who studies more.
Correct.
That is an airplane for that person. Yeah. So if we only go by personality-wise selection of airplane, then I'd say people who are little more adventure inclined would incline towards Boeing flying 737. Okay. When we speak about 777, 787, those are completely different because I have friends that fly 777, and matter of the fact, 777 and Airbus flying, there is a lot of overlap into it.
Yeah.
Like auto trim radar on IFATO, like engine failure on takeoff.
Yeah.
777 does it.
Yeah, it does it, yeah.
We had 737 does not do
You gotta give it manually.
Yeah, you gotta give it. On the other side, Airbus, you have to trim it manually, but then it holds it like it does. Initially, as soon as you lose the engine, yes, you lose a little bit of track, and then you have the radar
that directional controllability you have to control.
Yeah, but then you can just trim it.
Radar trim.
Yeah, it goes on. So that's pretty cool. I don't think you both are in any mood to fight. So let's just...
I can't fight with her.
So
I can't fight with it. See, I think for a pilot, anything that flies, even a kite, that pilot would be happy to just fly it.
Exactly.
And as pilots, it's an amazing discussion.
Right.
And we can have banters all day long, but anything, if you give a pilot to fly, be it Airbus, Boeing, Cirrus, Cessna, the joy of flying is flying actually.
Right.
And Boeing all the way then. Yeah.
I'm Boeing and Airbus all the way.
Boeing and Airbus all the way, every aircraft, but yeah.
Yeah, she is Airbus all the way. She has a strong belief.
Yes, if I have to transition, it'll be the next Airbus
350, 380s. But I'm sure Airbus is a very intelligently curated aircraft for pilots. It's very well thought of.
Yeah.
That's something that I'll have to give it to Airbus, like how they've thought of about every switch also.
Yes.
Yeah, that requires some kind of ideation, which is very well executed on their part.
Matter of the fact, when I did type rating and I was reading through the manuals, FCTM, FCOM, all of these things, and the systems, everything, it's hard to believe that it was launched in 1980s. It really is difficult to actually comprehend the fact that technology was done in 1980s. It's still relevant to the day.
Yeah.
But Boeing is great too. They're all good, man. Whichever airline you're going for is your favorite airplane. That's
the rule. That's the rule. That's the rule. Obviously, that's how you. Yeah, that's how every pilot thinks, and it's your aircraft at the end of the day. You're taking care of that aircraft, and if you don't love your aircraft, what's the point of flying that aircraft?
Absolutely.
That's the thing, and like so, my friend recently has transited from narrow body to a wide body, and he was flying the bus, and now he's gone to 777.
Right.
And his struggle, and this is what I think most of the struggle, his question to me, bro, fly kaise kar lete ho, tumhare paas table bhi nahi hai. I was like, that's your struggle? And I cracked up immediately, like, if that's your struggle, I mean, God bless you, my brother. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but I think transition to 777 should not be that difficult.
Yeah, because so Airbus has a different terminology in terms of flying, and now you're going to Boeing. So obviously, 777 is 777.
Yeah.
I don't know how it feels to fly that one day, probably. But yeah, like for an Airbus pilot coming onto Boeing's, any particular fleet is slightly different. I won't say it's difficult or challenging, but it's slightly different. And it's vice versa for the Boeing pilot to go on Airbus. Yeah.
That would be more of studying than just actually polishing the skills. I think so.
I think you have to study every aircraft. If you really, it's just not, okay, Airbus has a lot of automation, so you study more.
Yeah.
It makes sense, right? Why you're studying. If you don't know why you're studying it, then that's the question. But if you're not inclined towards, if you don't have passion towards what you're studying, be it Boeing or Airbus, I mean, skills will not come. And my instructor told me in my flying school days, he used to give us a lesson plan before he used to make us fly. And he used to say that whatever you study on ground, only 20 to 50% you'll execute it in air.
Correct.
So might as well study properly.
Absolutely.
And that's how, you kind of polish your skills. That's what I feel. And that applies for a Cessna or an Airbus 380 or a 787.
Yes, anytime when you have to change the aircraft and do the type rating, you have to study those manuals thoroughly. Otherwise, half knowledge is quite dangerous.
Oh, completely dangerous, yes.
Definitely.
Especially in terms of flying, like you're handling people's lives and you don't know what you... And the difficult part is if the pilot is saying, I don't know what to do in this particular case. That is kind of challenging. So,
Definitely. Yep. Tell me one of the experience of your flight training that you would consider as the best experience ever.
Okay. So there are two, right? And the first experience was in my flying school training days, where I was surprisingly released for solo.
Right.
And you were not expecting it. I was not expecting it. And it just happened. My instructor was doing circuit and landings, and every landing he was shouting at me, you can't do this. You're flaring every time at your discretion. Sometimes you're flaring at 20 feet, sometimes 25 feet, and you're banking, this, that. And I was like, damn, I really suck at this. I shouldn't have chosen flying. And I'm like, what if I'm not good enough? All these thoughts kind of came into my mind. And then he said, we'll do one last landing and then we'll call it a day. I was almost in tears, okay? I was like, damn, I think this is the worst day that, I chose to fly. And as soon as we made a landing, he said, I think the winds are dying down. One circuit we'll do. I said, okay. So we took the aircraft back to our landing point, and he just took off his headphones and got out of the aircraft. I was like, I made him damn pissed. All right, now he's gonna leave me on the runway, and he said, listen, and he was a Punjabi. He said, घबराना नहीं है, ठीक है? But tension लेके उड़ाना है. मैं tension लेके उड़ाना है? What is, like, why should I take tension? And I said, okay. And at that point of time, I was not able to process what was happening, right? He said, उड़ा लेगा? I was like, okay, cool. And all of that thing kind of hit me. What is happening suddenly, you know? And within 20-30 seconds, he got off. I heard him on the RT leaving boy for solo. then the heartbeats started racing, and I was like, damn. And I was like, this Top Gun kind of theme song came in my mind. Yeah, I said, this is my time now. This is what they've been preparing me for. And then my chota sa throttle andar gaya. I was like, and I heard that engine wheezing and, engine kind of rattling up.
Yeah.
And I was talking to myself throughout. I like, okay, airspeed alive. And I was like, okay, this is really happening. Like at the same time, I was in the zone, and at the back of my mind, I knew, okay, this is really happening. This is what I'm about to do. And you hit that 60 knot, the magic number, stick Cooper. And so now what happens? You were throughout flying with an instructor, right?
Yeah.
Now you're heavy, the instructor is heavy.
Yeah.
At that moment, in 10 seconds, the plane flew. Like the climb rate jo hua, like the 1,000 feet circuit height, I reached in about 7 seconds. Usually it takes, for a 152 to climb like that. And I was like, okay. So I'm now at 1,200. I'm trying to manage my altitude and whatnot. And it's happening automatically. So it was very mechanical that time, because he trained us in such a way that whatever you were doing, you knew what you were doing. And I remember this part when I was downwind. I was smiling throughout. That this is an unbelievable moment for me. I'm still shivering. The thought of it is actually giving me goosebumps, and it was a very special moment because so many things, so many challenges we had faced in order to get here, and I called for that. Like he said, don't give any RT also, but I thought, we'll be professional. Right. So I gave the call, reporting left downwind, runway so-and-so. He said report finals. I said, okay, we'll go so-and-so. And finals. And made one of the best landings that I made was on solo.
Awesome.
And it kind of hit me while I was going home, because during that time, everybody's just congratulating you and all that. So when I went home, I told my parents about this. Yeah, so that was something very vivid. That happened, and I'm sure for every pilot, a solo is a memorable day. And for me also, this was a small part of my memory which I'm not going to forget, and it's going to be cemented in my brain.
Absolutely. And the second one?
Second one was actually my release flight here, and that too starting with my SLF. Was very memorable, and obviously the base check was also very memorable, but the first passenger aircraft that I flew was amazing, because me and my brother were in the same flight, and so first he went for that SLF release check, and the captain, the one who was actually taking our check, gave a PA announcement. Today is a very special day for us, that these two pilots are on board and they'll be flying you for the first time. And when you heard the cabin crew actually taking your name, the co-pilot is so-and-so, that felt kind of nice. And so he was doing a PM sector, and everybody told me to do a PM sector that time, but I wanted to fly. So I said, listen, I want to do a PF sector there. And first time when I flew with passengers, I was doing everything. That moment, especially when I landed, that validation from that instructor that, this was a very memorable day. You should cherish that day, because he had taken my AWO STOL check also. And that time I got a lot of hearing from him that, this is what you should do. And I made it it came on my ego. I thought, this is the time I'll prove, and I'll practice chair flying a lot. And it was so smooth, and felt nice landing an aircraft, with about 180 odd passengers. And so that day was also very memorable for me.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's good. I just wanted to, I've complimented you enough, and I can't help it. I know it's wrong to fanboy somebody, but your contribution into aviation, especially through your videos, and you've been teaching since 2008, has been commendable.
Thank you.
And one of the reasons why I also started creating content was actually to see your content, and I thought if this is something that you're doing, I can also do my bit. So thank you for inspiring me. And I just wanted to ask you, since you were flying and you were also teaching, how do you get the time to create content also and do all of these things so smoothly?
Yes, so flying is my passion, which I have been doing it for last 8 years. And whenever I'm not flying, the moment I am off or the moment I have, few days off, I am here in a studio.
Yeah.
So this I love to do. And when I'm not flying, even when there were no jobs in 2008, I got through Jet Airways, but then because of the airline, cancelled the vacancy because of the recession. So teaching is what I love to do.
Yeah.
So I'm either doing flying or teaching.
That's great.
So this is what I love to do, both of them. So I like to balance it. So yeah, that energy and enthusiasm comes from within when you love to do those things. So that's how I go on.
But don't you think there are certain times, like even if you're passionate about something, there are lows, there are downfalls, and you kind of doubt yourself. And like for an aspiring pilot, how should one overcome these things?
So whenever downtimes in the sense of like what?
Let's say it's not that you're not giving efforts. Let's say you've given enough efforts, you're not able to clear your nav exam for that matter, or you're not able to perfect your landings. And obviously there are times when the instructor says, if you're not, like, it's natural that you take some time off and all of that. So you kind of doubt yourself whether what you're doing is right. So
in those times, it's better to seek help from your senior or someone who can teach you or tell you what exactly to do. If in case you take the help, like myself, like I am there for the students, so I can tell them if they are getting stuck anywhere, I will help them with the, whatever the problem they are facing.
Correct.
Or if it is for flying, they should ask help from their instructor or seek help from their instructor. And it is very important for a pilot to have a quite positive mindset, even though there are, we always prepare for the worst times. Like before every takeoff, we have a safety briefing. What if we have to reject takeoff? Then what actions would you take?
Yeah.
What if there is engine fail during the takeoff? What action would you take? So you review that in mind. But that doesn't mean you get intimidated and scared and just not do the flight. We have to have a quite positive mindset about, yes, I'm going to make this change happen. And it has to be there. You have to have that positivity in you. And yes, lows and downtimes are there in everybody's life.
Absolutely.
But it's important to have an optimistic approach and positive approach about every situation.
Yeah, well said. What do you think about it?
Absolutely. What I think is, when there is a downtime, it is going to teach you something and you're going to come out of it stronger.
Yeah.
Right. And once you have faced it, once you have come out of it, if you ever face that kind of downtime again, you're not going to be as affected by it.
Yeah.
Because you have done it once. You have the confidence, you can walk out of it again.
Yeah.
So that gives strength. The only point that is I would emphasize on this kind is, do not take any rash decisions during such times.
Correct.
Which can permanently alter the course of life. Like, I won't name the airline or the program, but one of the students, Indian student in Florida, was denied to be released as solo.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He went and vandalized the fleet of the flight school. So he just let his emotions play out. And there is a limit to how much pilots can let their emotions play out in their actions. Pilots can't. Simply can't. Like, a pilot has a fight with somebody at home and goes for a flight. Is he gonna behave differently in a cockpit than he would otherwise? No, he has to stick to the policies, the SOPs, right? So, downtime. One, have the strength, have the positivity to be able to walk out of it. If that strength is not there, find source of strength, in my opinion, such as find any third person's opinion. Because actually we can be the best advisors for ourselves because we exactly know what is happening in our lives, right? Like, where your life is currently, you know the best, right? We are good friends, but I would not know as much, right? You would know it. But in that time when there is a distress, still you are not the best advisor for yourself.
Correct.
But same situation, if you are seeing in, say, someone else's life,
Correct.
you will advise that person, right? It's called Solomon's paradox. Okay.
Yeah.
So Solomon's paradox is you advise others' wisdom better than you do to yourself.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That is Solomon's paradox. So that is why seeking a third person's help is useful. So if it is a downtime, we are there. DM
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
DM me, DM her.
Yeah.
Okay. Get out of it. Okay. Or someone else. Maybe your instructor. Maybe your friend.
Mentor.
Mentor. Whoever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just talk. Just go out.
Just talk and
Yeah.
don't take any rash actions, because actually nothing is end of the world until actually it is. Okay.
Yeah, very well said. I mean, the fact that you said that if you don't have the right mental state,
Yeah.
especially when you're flying,
Yes.
it kind of gets very challenging to concentrate,
Yeah.
because at the back of mind you're thinking about other things, what has affected you, and I feel mental health of pilots
Yeah.
is not that spoken about.
Yeah.
And it gets frustrating. Obviously, it gets frustrating. The example that you gave, it's very frustrating that somebody is not getting released for solo, but you can't let your emotions ride you in any way, and that's not professional.
Exactly.
And it cannot be tolerated. It does not. It's one of the KRAs of being a pilot that you should be able to control your emotions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And recently, DGCA has come up with a peer support program
Yeah,
for the
that's
same.
yeah.
That you speak to your colleagues. So there will be one person who will
Yes.
be designated to you in order to, if that particular person is undergoing any
Kind of
mental
stress. Yeah.
Yeah.
stress, then can discuss about it and should take an action to get out of it and not stay there. So,
Correct.
Absolutely, that's an amazing initiative. I think it's very important
Correct.
because in today's day and age, you're exposed to so many things,
Yeah.
and consciously or unconsciously, you just get affected by so many things.
Correct.
Yeah, like even if we talk about reels, like your mood kind of changes depending on what kind of content you're watching, and about
Correct.
10 to 15 minutes, you're consuming so many different content, like sad content, happy content, and emotional content. And your what do you call them, those transfusers that releases dopamine,
Yeah.
that kind of fuses,
Yeah.
Correct.
and then eventually you don't even realize that you're going into that zone. So it is very dangerous.
Absolutely. Like as we are speaking about dopamine, it's like if you drink one of this when you are not habitual to caffeine, you would feel completely pumped up.
Correct.
Right? 1 week, I drink this every day. 1 can will feel like nothing.
Immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're immune to it.
Yeah. Then I need another one. over a period of time, if I'm drinking 3 cans of this, I feel just normal, right? So that way, the tolerance towards dopamine also keeps on increasing because of reels and whatnot in today's date.
Yeah.
Like, this is a long form kind of content, right?
Yeah.
To have the attention span for so long was very usual back in time. Now it is not, because of things like these short form bit size pieces.
Nobody has the time to, watch like 30 minutes, 1 hour long podcasts. But
Actually.
Yeah.
If you're still watching, you're good.
Yeah. If you're still watching, and especially I feel podcasts are now becoming a very good thing because you don't have to read anything in that particular 1 hour.
Yeah.
The amount of information that you get is immense.
Correct.
You don't have to go anywhere in that particular podcast. Only so many doubts kind of clear because we are also learning also while creating a podcast. So what you guys are doing, especially with Pilot Podcast, was Indian podcast for pilots, and the amount of value that you're providing to aspiring or even pilots who are online is commendable. I've almost seen all your podcasts. And most of the things that I've seen is already known to pilots who are already online.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it just refreshes so many things. Okay, this is what I went through. And it's amazing what the kind of value that you're providing.
Definitely.
I'm always in awe.
Thank you.
Thank
And you are also right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, like I said, thank you. I'm really lucky. I bless my stars that I'm sitting here where so many big, influential people sit. So I'm just doing my bit. I hope it works out for everybody.
You are also influential.
Yes.
Well,
Absolutely.
see, I don't know. Like, this is, thanks, man. Like, thank you. Be winger. In this ideal world, you can be anything. Be winger.
Nice. That's a nice tagline.
But be good, be kind, and just keep learning. Strive for learning everything every day, something new at least. It's challenging, but if you have that kind of attitude that kuch to naya seekh raha hu main today, this is regardless. Even if flying is not your career, I think if you're just striving for that learning kind of attitude that this is what I want to learn, even if I talk to this person, ye seekh lunga main isse,
Correct.
the way he presents. And anything, like could be anything. It
Absolutely.
goes leaps and bounds.
A good pilot is always learning, like Captain Joe said, right?
I though have copied his message like at the end in my YouTube videos. I'm so sorry, Captain Joe, but you're my idol also. And I say, if you learn good, you fly good. Where is it coming from? You learn good, you fly good is just a little bit grammatically wrong sentence, but it just sounds catchy and it makes total sense. And if you actually are learning and if you learn really good, you'll fly really good.
Absolutely.
That's the aim that we're striving to.
Absolutely.
So what's your story, man? How did you decide to get into this? Like, you're a software engineer, but how did you decide to become a pilot?
In fact, Nilay and ma'am, pilot was never on the cards. Like, becoming a pilot was never on my card. Like, everybody in my house was a pilot.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Okay.
And
Like-
from the, I was like, this is something that I don't want to do. This is not what I'm going to do. I'm not here my dad's not here on my birthday, and he's not here on Diwali. Now, today, I am not here. Like, I don't know if you guys can make out, there are patakas actually bursting. I'm not on Diwali. So now I feel what he was going through. But yeah, like, flying was never on the cards. Becoming a pilot, like, not even a passing thought also, ki this is what I want to do. So, like any other Indian kid, I wanted to be a cricketer.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You do have the height for it and everything. Like,
Yeah, I thought, so I saw the 2003 World Cup. I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
And I saw Saurav Ganguly, Sachin Tendulkar. And there was this Pepsi that was blue color Pepsi. I don't know if you guys remember. And I was like, this is very nice. And that is the age where you start getting exposed to the outside world. And it was very fascinating for me. And I said, I want to play cricket. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I am so lucky that I found my passion. That was the goal. So I said, listen, and we started playing cricket 7-8 years in Air Force stations and everything. So my dad was in the Air Force. And I used to play with all the officers and everybody. Turns out I really liked the game. My psychomotor skills were good. So I played decently well. I went for state trials also.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I played for, I didn't play, but I had gone for trials and didn't get selected. And while I was in trials, I actually broke my finger. Yeah, I was a wicket keeper. And because of Rahul Dravid, I thought, this is what I want to do. I'll be a wicket keeper. And so I was actually keeping, and a ball kind of hit the glove. And I was keeping still, after 1 over also I was keeping. Then I could feel the sensation, that current sensation kind of happened. Took out my glove, it was all red. Now there's the thing, whenever I see blood, I faint. Even if it's your blood, ma'am. If it's your blood, I have that, this is called a disorder, that if you see blood, you kind of have that dizziness. So I immediately fainted. Next thing, there was this Kalhona wala clip that, I'm opening my eyes. Somebody's picking up. I'm opening my eyes. I'm in the car. I'm opening my eyes. My hand is inside an ice or something. So it turns out your fingers, if they are broken, it can kind of gets deformed. All that sensation will be there, but it gets deformed. Now this was in class 10th.
Right.
Now I have a Punjabi mother. Boards ka time hai, and you break your finger. Luckily it was the left one. या तो क्रिकेट चलेगी या तो घर से बाहर. हाँ, अब क्रिकेटर तो बनना था, पर इतनी दम भी नहीं थी कि बोल सकते कि बाहर जाने तो थप्पड़. So I was like, ठीक है, पढ़ाई करेंगे. तो क्रिकेट took a back seat. I started studying. And then I actually had to leave cricket because for boards I started preparing, and one of the coaches also said कि इसका शौक है, इसका Delhi trial में नहीं हुआ है, state trial में नहीं हुआ है. And so my mother also told me that this is not meant for you. I was like, thanks for motivating me. But I was like, cool. Well, obviously, it is damn hard. Had I continued, I don't know. But this is something that I wanted to do. So I felt bad then. However, I wrote my board exams, and after boards, I really didn't know what to do. Again, I was aloof because the thing that I wanted to do is something that I can't pursue, and that happened. So I asked my parents, I don't know what to do and everything. Should I take commerce, arts, science? And they told me कि, you should take science if you're not sure as to what you want to do. And I was like, सबसे difficult वाला ले लूँ जिसमें मैं sure नहीं हूँ. In the back of my mind, but they were right. If you're not sure, you have multiple options, right? Correct, you can step into humanities, you can step into the commerce field. True. And in fact, most of the engineers do an MBA. Yeah. No sense to me, but sure. If you want to do that, but sure. That's a different topic. Yeah. And I cleared my, I joined the science stream, physics, chemistry, maths, and took physical education. And physical education was a free period. So people who were genuinely smart used to prepare in those subjects, physics and chemistry. I used to actually follow that subject a lot. Physical education, physically, hum khilenge. We will not study for, that was a good subject. It was a bonus subject for people who really wanted to score well, in your class 12th or prepare for your engineering and whatever. I took it very seriously. If physical education is taken, then you play. And दिन के 2-3 periods होते थे. So I used to play and everything. And I had a gala time in school. It was very fun. Nice. And after school, I was in class 12th. And this was during the end of our class 12th. And our teacher kind of asked us, what do you want to do? Every student. Now it came to me. So I was sitting on the benchmate. And I was like, bro, ये तो हमने सोचा ही नहीं है करना क्या. So I asked him, obviously, I was seeking help, like you said. I said, what are you going to do? He said, B.Tech. I said, B.Tech. Sounds kind of nice. It has a good ring to it, B.Tech. And then she asked me, Ravish, what do you want to do? I said, ma'am, I want to do B.Tech. I want to pursue B.Tech. I saw the smile on her face. This guy doing BTech, he's so clear in his agenda as to what he wants to do in his life. I was like, wow, that is, मैंने कुछ बोला है, and it feels nice to everybody. I went home, called my dad, called my mom. I said, listen, BTech करना है. क्या बात कर रहा है? Clarity? हाँ, यूरेका मोमेंट. मैं भी खुश. मेरा एक बहुत सही वर्ड है, BTech. I didn't even know what BTech is. मैंने गूगल किया BTech. हाँ, उसमें बैचलर ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी. यस, आई एम अ बैचलर ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, है ना. ग्रोथ, नॉट इवन नोइंग इट मीन्स इंजीनियरिंग की डिग्री, नॉट नोइंग दैट. मेरे को ये बहुत ही अच्छा है, टेक्नोलॉजी में करेंगे ये वो दिस दैट. हाँ, मेरे कॉन्सेप्ट चलने लग गए. आई बिकेम दैट रणछोड़ दास छाछड़, लाइक फुल ऑन की यार यही करना है. अब मुझे नहीं पता था इसके लिए कोचिंग जा रहे थे. इतने साल से जो लोग जा रहे हैं वो IT बनने के लिए जा रहे थे. मेरे को लगता था क्या इंजीनियर बनूंगा. मेरे को यही नहीं पता था बीटेक इंजीनियरिंग सेम है. I was so lost in the world, and I also started preparing. Crash course join किया मैंने. The good part was जो तुम्हारे class 12 में marks आते हैं, it doesn't matter if you score, like every engineering college has a different entrance. So even if you score, let's say 65-70 marks in your class 12th, you have to write your entrance exam of that particular college. So which I did, got into Manipal. I was like, very nice. People are taking drops for IIT. I don't want IIT. चाहिए ही नहीं. जब चाहिए ही नहीं तो हम क्यों जाए, करेंगे. अच्छा, अब मणिपाल में हम आ गए. 4 साल का वेकेशन पैकेज हमने एंजॉय किया. एंजॉय, उसमें क्लैरिटी आ गई कि इंजीनियरिंग तो नहीं करनी. दिस इज समथिंग. हाँ, इफ यू वांट टू बी एन इंजीनियर, it's great, it's good, but if you don't know what you're doing, do engineering, you'll know what you don't have to do. Yeah, so it gave me clarity. Okay, मेरे को ये नहीं करनी. हाँ, and I used to be very active in co-curricular activities, even in sports, but like theater, drama became.
Nice.
Yeah, I liked performing theater. I liked entertaining people, and that just came naturally to me. So I was part of this theater group which we started. We went for competition, we won, and I got a lot of appreciation that your plays are nice. And even though I didn't write any plays, I used to perform, but I used to like those claps, those smiles when you were performing kind of gave me motivation, and I thought this is something that I like. And I told my parents कि ऐसा है. तो उन्होंने बोला हाँ कर लेना, पहले इंजीनियरिंग खत्म कर लो, उसके बाद. दैट वर्ड ना, उसके बाद हैज, आई थिंक उसके बाद देखेंगे. लाइक ठीक है, उसके बाद देखेंगे. Then cut to engineering happened, and there was.
So you did BTech.
I was doing BTech. I think in the 3rd semester, I kind of realized that acting तो कर ही लेंगे, but I wanted to be a fighter pilot because I saw my dad being a fighter pilot, and I liked because you kind of understood.
He is a fighter pilot.
Yeah.
That's
My
a
father,
respect.
grandfather, yeah, both of them,
Wow.
and my chachu also. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Thank them
That's
for their service from our end.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I'm very privileged and grateful that I was born in this family. And yeah, then when you realize धक्का लगता है ना कि अच्छा ये civil life है, it is better to be in that defense life. Now that this is the point I realized that I want to do fighter flying.
Yeah.
So I started preparing for AFCAT, which is Air Force Common Admission Test, and it's very basic that you need to prepare for it. There are courses online, but if you just have general knowledge concepts, if you're good with current affairs, if you're decent with mathematics, and this is 10th, 11th mathematics, chances are you'll be able to clear AFCAT. So I started preparing for it, gave 2 months, and after my classes I just used to study for about 1 hour just to practice aptitude, know the current affairs. There's a booklet every year, ek aate hai current affairs ki booklet, so I just purchased that, went through it, and wrote my AFCAT exam in Delhi, cleared it, and then they give you a call for SSB. Service Selection Board. And now for Air Force there are different service selection board, for Army there are different, for Navy there are different. So I went to Dehradun, and over there are 2 rounds, screen round and conference round. Now we can go in depth, but I unfortunately got conference out, and yeah, so conference round mein basically there are a set of panelists that are sitting who are from the armed forces, and they rejected me because of it is right on their part, because I had, so puberty hit me late. अभी भी ठीक से नहीं आ रही है, ठीक है, अभी भी if you notice.
That's good, man.
अभी भी मतलब.
What would you say about this?
But so I had those bakra dadi coming in. I went inside with my file and everything, and out of about 500 people, we were 5 people who went in. And iske baad, if you clear, it's medicals. They'll do your medicals, and if you're down with that, you're down. Now, if you're in class 12th, you have to go through NDA. Since I was a graduate, that's why I had to go through AFCAT. Air Force Combat. So NDA is for class 12th, if you have class 12th. And then they'll teach you for 3 years. They'll also give you a BSc degree and all of that. And then they'll send you to the...
What is the age limit for that?
For AFCAT?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. I think it's 26.
Okay.
26. But for fighters, you have to... Like, if you want to join the fighter branch, it's 24.
Okay.
So I was already 22. So this was technically my last attempt. And after that, I couldn't have joined as a fighter pilot. I could have joined the Air Force as an admin officer, logistic officer, but this was the cutoff for me.
Got it.
Yeah,
And is there any limit on how many attempts you can get?
So now these exams happen, I think 4 times in a year.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have to book your slot according to, I think 4 or 2, again, I'm not sure. Okay. I think it's 2. 1 in September, 1 in April.
Yeah, but how many times a person can?
Till the age of you were 26, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
But if you want to join the fighter branch, you have to be below 24.
Right.
So I was already 22, touching 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for 12th pass, it is through NDA.
Yeah, so AFCAT is graduation, correct.
Right.
Yeah. For 12th pass, it's NDA. You have to write the NDA exam. And again, their curriculum is slightly different. And SSB, and then they actually teach you through that Air Force Officers Institute. They'll take you there.
Correct.
And
Let's continue with the
Yeah.
your commercial pilot journey. So yeah,
Yes.
now, okay. Unfortunately, it was a unfortunately, or yeah, both ways. You can say,
I mean,
because you're living the dream right now.
I mean, life is a beautiful leveler, don't you think? Like it levels out.
It is.
Right.
Yes.
My mother says this thing: everything is pre-written, nothing can be rewritten.
Yeah.
So you just do your bit. Karma अपने हाथ में. कर्म करो.
Correct.
फल की चिंता मत करो. So that was the idea. But during that nascent age, you are very emotionally attached to what you're doing.
Correct.
And I felt really bad because of this reason. I got rejected. I also pleaded, please take my interview. And they were right that this is not professional. I had never shaved till the time I was 27.
Okay.
I told my father, वहाँ से अलग गालियाँ पड़ रही हैं. This is basics. You should know this, ये वो. Now the good thing about SSB is that if you're a reject, they'll give you a train ticket back to your home.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I was going back home, and there were a bunch of people who didn't get selected, and we were all talking. कि तेरा कैसे नहीं हुआ ये वो. I was like ऐसा हो गया है. And this guy said, you've got a very good voice. And तेरे को पता है अमिताभ बच्चन का और शाहरुख खान का भी SSB नहीं हुआ था. मैंने बोला क्या बात कर रहे हैं.
But I do agree on your voice.
Yeah.
It is really good.
Thanks.
It is a really good voice.
Has a
Thanks.
command, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
It is a really good voice.
Yeah, again, like not a skill. It's like height. People say I have 6 foot. I'm 6'3". Not something that I did. This is not something that I did. I'm
That
just
is-
blessed with it, and I'm grateful that it's impactful. That's what I can think.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. The point is,
Mm-hmm.
having a voice, good voice,
Mm-hmm.
is probably genes, right? Like,
Yeah.
that is good. But then using it in a way that can help people, or that can affect someone's life in a positive way, that is good, right? Like, and right now you do have a good voice. Now with that, as you use a good cadence of speaking, as you use, only voice doesn't help. You have the information that you provide to people, and so more and more people view your content, and so you're using in the best way that there is, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's continue.
That really means a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nilay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so there were we coming back home on a train, and
So these guys were discussing that, bro, शाहरुख खान का भी नहीं हुआ है, अमिताभ बच्चन का भी नहीं हुआ है SSB, और देख वो कहाँ पे. bro, ये तो करना ही था मुझे. I think this is the universe calling me. And I was like, ऐसा है क्या? And then they explained me, उसका ऑल इंडिया रेडियो में नहीं हुआ था, अमिताभ बच्चन का देख कहाँ पहुँच गया है, उसका SSB भी नहीं हुआ था, शाहरुख खान का SSB भी नहीं हुआ था. I was like, हाँ यार, ये तो मतलब बात सही बोली है. हाँ मतलब it is meant to be. ठीक है. So I told my mom कि देखो अभी मेरा नाउ कॉलेज में ना कैंपस प्लेसमेंट सीजन स्टार्ट हो गया है. तो अब इतनी पढ़ाई हो नहीं रही, मतलब देयर इज अ मेजर प्रोजेक्ट टाइम. सो आई टोल्ड माय मम दैट आई हैव अ मेजर प्रोजेक्ट गोइंग ऑन एंड आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम इन माय हैंड. आई वांट टू बी एन एक्टर. शी इज लाइक लो, हर दिन इसका बदलता ही रहता है. एंड माय मम सेड दैट देयर आर 10,000 पीपल एवरी डे कमिंग टू मुंबई जस्ट टू बी एन एक्टर.
Which is
true, yeah.
But mom, thanks for motivating me again. Like, yeah, but no, I have to give her credits. She told me to join an acting class.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Nice.
no, because of her. So my mother enrolled me into a acting school.
Nice.
And there I learned the craft of acting. It was a 3 months course. Made really good friends. Learned a lot about myself.
It is true.
Yeah.
Acting classes one should do, in my opinion. I mean, I was looking for that a few months ago, matter of the fact, but I could not find any good, or maybe I didn't look hard enough.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's great being a pilot also if you have something on the side that you're doing and you're inclined about. If you're looking for an acting class, let me know. I'll help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I know, like, I don't know if, can I name them?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Barry John Acting Studio. This is where I learned my acting from. And they helped me improve my craft. Also, a lifestyle, how to lead. Right? You are in control with your emotions. They teach you how to channelize your emotion so that when you're actually performing a scene, इतना बहना भी नहीं है, प्लस ऐसे लगना भी नहीं चाहिए यू डूइंग एन ओवर एक्टिंग काइंड ऑफ थिंग. सो आई एम ग्रेटफुल फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर कोर्स एंड आई एम ग्रेटफुल टू माई मम हु enrolled me into this. So post that I did a few theater workshops. I did a few theaters like plays and skits. But long story short, acting doesn't pay you that well if you're just doing theater. Like you're genuinely just getting money for gas and your petrol and about that. So I had to do something. Now, I was placed as a software engineer, so I had that time. And in that time, I found out that one of my senior has a startup into the F&B industry. And he said, listen, if you want to make money, why don't you just join here and see? Which I did. I fell in love with the job. We used to make websites and order online portal for restaurants and cafes. And I was dissolved in it. Like we used to work 26 hours out of 24 hours. Like I was like gadda bichha ke hum log kaam kar rahe hain, and I fell in love with the process.
That's how a startup looks like, right?
Yeah, and it was so much fun. Like you're just surviving on energy drinks and having Maggie, taking a shower there because you felt that it's your baby that you're creating. Worked there for 3 months. My mentor, who's still my mentor, Pulkit Handa, he told me that, I think you'll be happier here rather than doing a corporate job. And for some reason, it kind of made sense. And I denied my offer, still worked in a startup, worked there for 3 years. And that's when I saw my younger brother preparing for CPL.
Okay.
And my grandfather knew that, I've always wanted to be a pilot. And that time the industry was, growing around 2017-18. And he asked me, Ravish, do you want to do this or do you want to fly? And I went up, my dad was also sitting, and he said very clearly that I have money for further studies if you want to, because अगर कुछ नहीं होता तो फिर MBA कर ले, कुछ तो मतलब डिग्री होनी चाहिए ना, अगर शादी वादी करनी है तो कुछ किया है लाइफ में कि क्या बीटेक ही बैठे है ना. And or do you want to start your own business, which I was really interested in starting my own business, so we can actually afford you here, and or do you want to do flying because your younger brother is already doing it, so we've already got one brother doing it.
Correct.
You both can do it. It'll be cheaper for us. And I'm privileged that he gave me those options because at that time I didn't know. And one thing led to another. I started preparing in 2017. got my license, like started 2017 and 2018 I started flying. 2019 early part, I got my license and a job. And I was like, this is how I got into aviation. This is how I got a job. And I was like, okay, so this is what I'm meant to do. And yeah, I'm grateful every day. So that's how I became a commercial pilot, flying passengers.
Journey.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Quite versatile journey. And
Yep.
you have experienced many professions before
Yeah.
you became a pilot,
Actually.
which made
Yeah.
you quite wiser and a better person, you think?
Well, wiser, I think I'm trying to be wise every day.
That is without
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. Like I'm trying my level best. I've started reading a lot. Initially, I was not a reader, but I've started reading, and it immensely helps.
Right.
Meditation helps. So I'm trying to get there. I'm not saying I'm 100% wise, but if I had to change back something, I would just leave everything the way it is. Like
Right.
I'm grateful for where I am right now.
Absolutely. Like, have you watched that speech from Steve Jobs, the Stanford speech?
Motivational speech,
Yeah.
The dots connecting speech.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's not
Yeah,
that I don't recall whatever he said,
just,
but
just
if I
check it out.
Yeah?
Whenever
motivational
you have
speech.
time, just check it out.
Yeah.
So everything that you do contributes to something in your future life, right?
Correct,
Now
correct.
you've done acting classes, right?
Yeah.
Now you create content.
Yeah.
That is helpful, right?
Yeah.
That is helpful.
Yeah, mixing both the things. The fact that I like to present, also my love for aviation,
Yeah.
and if it's beneficial for an aspiring pilot or even pilots who are online, or because I create on educational stuff also.
Correct.
So it also helps me get back into books, because if I'm actually giving out any information, it has to be legit. For that, I should know what that is. And I'm just glad that it's being useful.
Correct. No, the acting, I don't mean by content creation is acting. I do not mean that. What I mean is it gives you camera confidence, right?
Yeah.
It does give you camera confidence. It does tell you how to speak to the camera.
Yeah.
Because when we speak right now, we are speaking with each other. But when it's just you and the camera, right?
Yeah.
It feels like, okay, I'm speaking to, that's a person right there.
Yeah.
Right?
It should technically happen. And for that, you have to be in the zone.
Yeah.
There are times, I'm sure, I don't know, for every content creator, when the camera kind of switches on, you kind of switch off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. Like I have
happens.
cuts where I'm abusing left, right, and center. Like I've just memorized the line and I'm not able to speak it.
Right.
And at that point of time, you gotta bring yourself in that moment, and you have to be in that creative energy, which is very difficult.
Correct.
And
It's important.
and I believe like playing sports, meditating kind of brings you in the moment, especially if you're doing something which is into co-curricular activities. Your flying kind of improves because you're there in the zone when you're flying.
Correct.
So even if you had a bad day, when you're flying in that seat, I'm sure you can guide us more about this, how mental health and whatever that you're going through when you're actually flying, that affects if you're in the present moment, what you're doing.
Yes, if you are, see, there have been times when you're low in mentally, but then if you are in the cockpit and you put yourself completely into that zone, I had forgotten those things which were happening on ground.
Correct.
And after the flight, it hit me, okay,
Yeah,
this is where I am. Okay. So it has happened. But then when you are completely focused on your flight and when you are putting your mind and energy into it, then things should go on.
Yeah.
And then, that's so keep yourself occupied as much as possible rather than keeping yourself idle for as much time as possible.
Yeah.
And then obviously seek help,
Yeah.
talk to your friends and resolve the issue rather than taking any abrupt decision.
Yeah.
Right.
Mama, I had a question, and I think I can speak on behalf of both of us because we've recently joined, especially the commercial part of aviation. And you've been flying as a PIC for a very long time. What do you think and every right seat is actually in training to be in the left seat. Absolutely. Right? Every first officer. क्योंकि सास भी कभी हुई थी, कभी first officer भी, कभी captain भी, कभी first officer था ना?
Absolutely.
So like, what are your parameters? What do you think a good P2 should comprise of?
So even I was a first officer, and that time I always looked for things. How can I make this flight more efficient compared to before? Like, let's say one of the descent, I screwed up, or I got high on profile, or I got low on profile.
Correct.
Okay. Then next time, I kept on thinking, okay, what went wrong in that? So in the next flight, what I should correct and what I should do in order to make it optimum, in order to, regarding fuel as well as regarding rest of the things, like if there is any kind of abnormal procedure need to be conducted, how can we do it strategically and in a procedural manner.
Yeah.
So these are the things. Apart from that, then flying, handling, and then managing it. So those things, I always thought that I want to do it better the next day than previous day. And that actually helped in order to become a better senior first officer thereafter.
I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is what I did when I was a first officer, and that's what I expect even a first officer should do in order to...
The thought process behind making a flight more efficient, like at the back of the mind, they should know that how can I make this flight more efficient is the key. Okay.
Efficient as in terms of fuel, time, actions?
Everything. Okay. Everything. Absolutely everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not only the fuel, of course.
Right.
First of all, it has to be safe, what you do. Then next is safety is paramount, as
Absolutely,
you know, in aviation. Thereafter, it's comfort, and then is fuel efficiency in this sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And does that come with experience, or like can this be a catalyst? Let's say now that I'm asking you, I'm getting so much insight from that. And how can a pilot actually make sure that this, like, without spending too much time, also make sure that he's efficient or she's efficient in terms of flying, helping the captain, also the flight?
Yes, so if you are quite thorough with your knowledge, as well as like what is manuals which are given by company as well as the manufacturer manuals, like for, in your case, for Boeing, and then company manuals, they help you a lot to make you a better pilot in terms of knowledge and then application of it. So if you are well read in terms of that, then you can do things in a better way and efficient
Absolutely.
way. So it is, as a first officer, there are times when some of them do crib about, certain captains and all. But it's not about talking about a particular person, and make sure that when you become a captain, you don't do those things.
Absolutely.
As well as don't pick up wrong things from everyone. Stick to things that are written and then follow that, rather than following every person. Otherwise, it will be a cocktail of all the right and incorrect things. So that is not what we want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That actually brings me to the second question that you said, you got to be good with your knowledge and everything. But sometimes when we read the manuals, it is the language is very robotic. It's very difficult to understand. Like, how should one make sure that it's easier, and how should one go about it? Like, there are times when I don't feel like reading the manual. It's very boring. Like, I'll read the same paragraph 10 times and I still be like, मेरे को नहीं समझ आ रहा. Right. So now what I personally do is I go up to the captain, I tell him or her that please explain me this, which more often than not, clears my doubt. But I can't go for every page, So how should one go about it?
So generally, like Airbus manuals, I have felt that they are
a little robotic.
easier.
Understand, comprehend.
But I'm not blaming any, but rather I would
No,
say
I'm not blaming. Even
this
Boeing
is
manuals
rather
are.
French converted to English in Airbus.
Correct.
And there it's pure English manual. So
No, I'm not saying. I'm just. So the manuals don't have a problem. The person who's reading, the person who's behind that manual has a problem. Like I represent the backbenchers, the people who just passed. So I'm representing those kind of people because I'm sure if you're intelligent, you'll be able to get it.
Yeah.
And I'm very average in studies.
I was.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was.
That's why I was
yeah,
asking.
when I do fly as a captain, I mean, since many people know that I know certain things, okay, so they do ask me, okay, whether the whole day flight goes in explaining them the long one, so which I enjoy doing that. So that way you can seek help from captains who are well experienced and who will be able to answer you in a better way.
Yeah.
So,
Sure. But the point is ultimately, like, I've been a backbencher. Like, okay. And there is this just a realization that work needs doing. Right?
Yeah.
Like, how much ever we think that we need to find a shortcut through this, like having a shortcut like this, that like when in my type rating I'd call her every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me this real quick. I have this lesson tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
For sure. But reading needs to be done, man. Even right? Like you can't just skip that. We have to do it. And though we are both backbenchers, we do read.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And the fact, you got to make your subject interesting.
Yeah.
I have acronyms that help me.
Yeah, for sure.
The ways that I have actually cleared my DGCA exams, it was hard work, and I've given those tips on my page also.
Right.
It was hard work, but it was fun at the same time. And I feel one of the most important things that a person, especially a pilot who's just joining and clearing his DGCA exam, is that if he's discussing about those topics, let's say we've studied VOR, I'll ask you, okay, tell me the localizer frequency, and you're quizzing yourself. Exactly. It's a healthy competition. I'm not saying you got to demean that person. Or, can you tell me about ILS? Yeah. Just tell me the functionality. Instrument landing system, this is what happens. And what are the yellow lobes frequency, blue lobe frequency. I remember that part and that discussion when you're actually teaching somebody. I'm sure you can help me in this or back me up in this. That once you start teaching somebody, your concepts kind of get solid.
Absolutely, yes.
And I remember the fact that whatever I used to study in my AFM or manuals, I used to tell my brother, listen, just sit. I'm going to explain you. He's like, मैंने पढ़ रखा है भाई, मैं तू सुनेगा. And then we used to have that fight.
Makes sense.
And so I think discussing what you've studied or at least teaching somebody helps a lot.
Sure. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
And in school, it's like the consequence of not studying something would be not passing or getting lower grades. But this profession, if we don't study, it can cost lives, right? That's what it is. So certain things have to be studied. Can't say we are talking about certain V speeds or something. For aspiring pilots, it would be V speeds. It's like stalling speed. If a pilot gets into an airplane and doesn't know its stalling speed, that's terrible, right? So like that, I mean, in bigger airplanes, it's way more than that, just stalling speed. But what's needed to be studied has to be studied.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, more than that, you're doing it for yourself, I feel.
Absolutely.
I don't have that pressure of that. I don't genuinely take the pressure that there are passengers. I feel if I'm safe, the passengers are safe.
Exactly.
Right? So if I'm not good in what I'm doing, or at least my intentions are there to, make sure that I'm good every day, I'm striving for it, that makes a difference to a next level. So I know that if I know what I'm doing, or if I'm anticipating, they say be ahead of the aircraft, at least you're trying to do that. I'm not saying you'll be ahead of the aircraft every time, But if you're just practicing your chair flying every day, talking to your colleagues, peers, talking about aviation rather than just gossiping, I think that makes a great difference in terms of flying, and the passengers feel safe automatically. Like she said that her thought process, which is a very good point that I've taken, that your thought process behind every flight is to make sure that flight is very efficient. I'll do my level best to make sure that flight is efficient. So the CRM skills kind of also come into play, and your SOPs also come into play, and that's amazing. But ma'am, I just like he also presented now so many vacancies are coming out, right? And so many people have done their type rating. What are the kind of questions that people should expect from an airline when they're hiring, and what is a good answer of the question?
Yeah. Like HR
why do you want to be a
question.
pilot?
HR question.
A very common question. Why do you want to be a pilot? And what all questions do you expect? HR and also technical.
Yeah.
So regarding the technical part of it, it depends on actually which airline you're looking for, or because depending on the operations that airline has,
Correct.
the questions will be based on more or less on that criteria. Like if you are applying for maybe aircraft on which, if that airline is operating on sectors like ADTO, or for example, if they are operating a particular fleet of aircrafts like MAX.
Correct.
If in case, let's say Boeing 737 MAX, then the questions will be based on what are the latest modifications in MAX than what happened. In the because of which the aircraft was grounded.
Absolutely.
Things like that. So if you are in the realistic world of aviation,
correct,
and you are aware of the certain affairs of the aviation, in the Indian aviation, whichever airline you're applying, then you're pretty much good.
Okay. So you know about your aircraft, what the company is doing.
Yes.
That is very important.
That is important regarding the HR and the company point of view. And then general knowledge is about CPL and ATPL, what you have learned in your subjects. That is including technical general. Even if someone has done flight training abroad, then also they should know about technical general. So those things, if you are aware of that CPL and ATPL knowledge and these company related things, then you are pretty good.
Makes sense. Totally. Do you have any point of view, because you've also gone through that particular curriculum?
HR questionnaire,
and then post that we can talk about technical.
This is not about any specific airline, just to be sure.
Absolutely. It's very general. And with that line of thought, it most of the questions will get answered, because most of the airlines are choosing, they're also not judging you on the basis of whether you have 2000 or they also know that you have just a CPL. So according to that,
definitely. So in HR, I would be for a question such as why you want to become a pilot.
Correct.
Okay. Then followed by that, there will be a question like why you want to become a pilot for this specific airline, right? These two questions. So why you want to become a pilot is something that what are the precise motivators for you to become a pilot, right? And in terms of motivators, I would say there are certain internal motivators, and then there are certain external motivators. Internal motivators would be, in my opinion, like we discussed, last 24 hours. What would you do?
Okay, that's a question.
How would you no, this is not
I'm
a question.
Sure, but could be a question.
This is internal and external motivators is for your own understanding. Nobody's gonna ask that what are your internal motivators or external motivators, but I'm putting it into a thinking frame.
Understood.
So, for anyone to understand. So internal motivators talks about things like what are your values in life. What do you value in life? What is your passion? What are your goals?
Correct.
Right? And what is your fulfillment? What makes you feel joyful? Okay. And if becoming a pilot is relevant to that, then yeah, pilot career is fulfilling your internal motivators. There
Absolutely.
is a reason that you internally wanna become a pilot, right?
Yes.
On the other side, external motivators, the status, money,
Yeah.
layovers, lifestyle. These are all external motivators. Sure, many people might get into it for external reasons, that guys get attention from girls, get amazing layovers, good pay. Sure, those are great things, no doubt, okay? But that is not exactly what would be appreciated as an answer in an interview.
Okay.
In my opinion, it is not. If you, because here's the thing, at least in say cadet pilot program or something like that, the person has not flown a single hour of
Absolutely.
flying.
Yeah, makes sense.
What does he know about becoming a pilot? What does she know about becoming a pilot? Nothing, right? So this is a pie in the sky kind of thing, that becoming a pilot is fancy and the person is running behind it. But no, if you have spoken with pilots, if you have interacted with pilots, if you have studied really about what it is like becoming a pilot, and then if those values relate to your internal motivators, then yeah, then that answer, and that answer can be different for everyone. Like valuing safety, okay, like my value in my personal life is I would not take any rash decision.
I think what you said and what ma'am also said covers most of the thing. And the most important thing that I think is attitude.
Yeah.
If your attitude towards, just like you said, humble attitude is something that is very easy to, it sounds very easy, but just to be humble, remind yourself that you got to be humble. Even if you're there, even if you have all the external factors, there'll be times when you'll feel that, you're at the top of the world, but you still got to be humble. And there'll be times when you're at the bottom low, still you got to remind yourself, okay, this time will get better. And that will only come with being humble all the time. And the attitude to learn, I don't think, a good pilot is always an average pilot. That is a set thing. And it has its reason, because you can tame that person accordingly. If there is a pilot who's extremely intelligent, kya hi sikha loge? I'm sure he'll, obviously nothing against that part, you're intelligent, that's great. But if you have that willingness to learn every day, that I think that stands out in an interview. If you, let's say, there are so many things that people try to answer in an interview, even if they don't know the answer. Like I remember my colleague was asked, what are the 3 types of holding? So he didn't know one of them. He knew, but at that point of time, he didn't.
The entry patterns, right?
The entry patterns, the types of holding, teardrop, parallel, and direct. So like now I know it, but he, for whatever reason, he might got nervous and he said direct. Are there any more? He said there are 5 more, obviously. And that interviewer was there and he said, what are these 5 more? And he made up. I mean, I don't blame him. There are nerves, and but then he himself corrected himself, which is a very good trait. If you know that you've said something which was not to be said, you correct it and you say, I don't know. That's better.
Absolutely.
And that comes with the right kind of knowledge. If you don't know, it's better to say you don't know rather than anticipating or making false answers. So I think that is very important. The more real you are in an interview, and if you know your books well, obviously
100%.
Correct.
It's cherry on the cake.
And if you are intellectually guessing because you have read but not exactly able to remember it, convey it that I'm guessing. I had read, I do not remember, but this is what I think it is, but I am guessing. Because there is no place for in aviation. I really don't think.
I mean, who would you actually fool. That the person who's sitting behind the table has,
Absolutely.
he has or she has immense experience. And the way, if they even look at you, they'll know where you're coming from. So they know if you're making an excuse. They'll know if you're genuine while answering. Especially pilots, because they meet so many people every day on an everyday basis, be it pilots, be it catering staff, be it ground staff, be it cabin crew, be it their own people. Like, just by one glance, they can figure out if that person is fooling me or not. I think that's a good trait of being a pilot. Also, a con, because then you kind of figure out if that person is actually fooling you or not.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. Why you want to become a pilot?
No, this is the actual reason that I gave. I've seen my parents and my family being in this industry. It gives you freedom while you're flying. And my grandfather actually told me, you're one of the very few people who will be doing something they're not meant to do. Humans are meant to walk, and you'll fly. If humans were meant to fly, they would have wings. So that aspect motivated me, and I saw the lifestyle my father led. It was a very noble lifestyle, and the fact that you're bringing people close together gives you a sense of achievement. And I feel I have that kind of attitude to become a pilot. Secondly, I'm also very passionate towards this field. I like to talk about aircrafts. I like to know about aircrafts. I like to know about other departments of the aviation industry. And this is why I want to become a pilot. And that's the actual answer I gave. And
very good.
Yeah. And it was from the heart. But I've seen people, and people start off by saying, I'm very passionate towards this field, which it's great. I understand, but I think we have to articulate that particular, like when you're going for an interview, you should know.
100%. Yeah, so in his answer, did he mention layovers? No. Did he mention like salary? Maybe a little. That is, the core point was what he truly values, right? Like, how would he spend his time? What is the attitude that is expected from a pilot career, and he genuinely has it. And that did sound like a genuine answer. We did not practice, we did not do nothing. I just went off and asked you, right?
Put me on the spot right there.
Right?
But,
yeah. And if you can come up with an answer like that, you are good for that question. Right?
I hope it works out.
No, but it is different for different persons, right? This is your individual own answer.
Yeah.
And that is why
Correct.
sounds so genuine, because it is genuine. So
everyone may not have their family background in
Correct,
the
absolutely.
aviation
No,
or
yeah.
any pilot profession. So whatever is applicable for them
Correct.
from within, that should be the answer.
Yeah.
So it is not. It should not be replicated just because someone has said, but in the lines of
Correct.
what is for them.
Yeah.
But that said, see, Captain Ravish, he is an articulate person, okay? So he could come up with the answer without any preparation, no nothing. He just came up with that. If you can take something from it, that'll be awesome. No doubt about it. But if you think you are articulate enough, cool. If not, have a truly sensible answer ready for these kind of questions, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's not like you're learning that whole answer and you're standing there and giving the no. But have some points that, and think to yourself, if you think to yourself that why you truly want to become a pilot, like what is the reason that you are becoming a pilot, and the points that you get, okay, and then make it a sensible one. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, that's what it is. All right, we have been going on, Vital, and probably we can go on for another 3 hours, right?
No,
I-
not me.
Not at all. Yeah.
And she is saying not me because, as you know, Capt.Neha is pregnant.
Yes.
So there is not a long time you can sit for at a stretch while being pregnant. So
Yes.
And the fact that you gave us time.
No, we are
and
glad that
That you came.
you came and
Thank
then
you. Okay.
we were able to
Yeah.
shoot a podcast.
Yeah,
We are
that's
really
amazing.
quite
I
happy.
mean, it was long due, I believe.
Yes,
We-
it
we-
was
it
long.
was,
like
it was
too much to and fro communication was going on.
Yes.
Sometimes you were flying, sometimes I was flying.
Yes,
but I'm
yes.
glad that both of us are on the same page.
Yes,
Correct.
definitely.
Absolutely.
And this has been lovely, absolutely. And I'm grateful that you guys called me.
Thank you so much for taking out time
Thank you.
from your flight schedules. We are glad that you came all the way on
No
the
worries.
day of Diwali.
Yes, ma'am.
And wish you a very happy Diwali to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Happy Diwali to you too.
And
Happy Diwali.
Happy
Happy
Diwali.
Diwali.
Happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali.
Yes, that's what it is. Thank you for joining, and we'll look forward to meeting for a podcast again. okay?
Absolutely.
And great things we discussed, man. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was seriously amazing. And any message that you wanna give to the aspiring pilots?
The one thing that I want to say, if you're just starting out and if you're having a low time, remember why you started this, that thought of why you started this in the first place. And don't ever let that thought go. Be grounded. Keep striving for the growth and keep learning every day. Because if you learn good, you fly good. I'll see you on the flight deck.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Guys, that's
Great.
Captain Ravish for you. You can find him on Instagram, B Wenger, okay? And on YouTube, just name your channel.
It's B Winger itself.
B
Yeah.
Wenger, okay?
Awesome.
It was nice having you all for this podcast. You have stayed on this podcast for the longest. Thank you for subscribing, viewing, watching, and liking, whatever that it is. Okay. See you all soon.